Welcome back to Navy Sports Magazine. Navy men's basketball team finds themselves 2-2 heading into this week's action as the Mids get set for a trip to Easton, Pennsylvania coming up on Wednesday night when they face the Leopards of Lafayette alongside the big center Evan Wieck. Over the last couple of games, they have made a much more concerted effort to get the ball into you, and your production has really stepped up. Has that been by design to get you going early, and what's it been like to be a focal point of the action here of late?
It has been a focal point, trying to get the ball inside more because we figured out in the non-conference games that we weren't getting a lot of paint touches, which helps create for our shooters as well. So once they throw the ball into me, the defense collapses like basic basketball. I kick it back out. It's a more wide open shot. So either way, if I can score in there, which I'm not really used to doing, you know how it is. Like I've been working on my post moves.
You went 8 of 9. I mean, that's not bad. You're shooting almost 70%.
Not too bad, yeah. So I'm trying to be more aggressive in there instead of just looking to screen for people and create people shots. But now I can do that with the ball in my hand as well.
You mentioned the out-of-conference schedule. You guys played a hellacious out-of-conference schedule. What was that like, and do you feel it made you all a better basketball team?
I would completely agree with the schedule. Back in high school, even we would play the toughest teams.
I know when you were at Hargrave. My son went to Massanutten, so I know the route you were on.
Same thing, yeah. So play the hardest teams, and the non-conference helps you get better, so it makes it seem easier. Conference games, we've been within mostly 8 points, 6 points somewhere on some of our losses, 1-2 games. But a lot of those non-conference games we're losing pretty big. But each, we're a young team too, so each non-conference game we learned a new lesson. So
watching Maryland last night, and I'm thinking about, game 2 out of the chute, you're playing, Bruno Fernando. I mean, what kind of a challenge is that like to play a guy with that size, but with the ability to move, because he won't just sit down on the block. He'll take you by the foul line and make you move around all over the place.
Yeah. So playing against bigs, especially for me and the other 5 men on the team. Bigs who are 3-4 inches taller than you, way more, and can move faster. That just makes it a lot easier during the non-conference, playing people more suited for us.
How did the time at the year at Hargrave help you not only obviously focus on some things academically, transitioning to a great place like the academy, but that year at Hargrave where you could really work with great, you're surrounded by great players every day. How much did that help you improve coming here?
It actually was night and day for me. I didn't choose to come direct. I think I could have, but I wouldn't have played my freshman year. I might not even be playing right now if I did not go to that prep year. I still keep in touch with all of them. 2 of them who I started with are at North Carolina State. The other one, he's at VCU. They're all putting up great points. Playing amongst those guys, I had to step my game up a little bit, and that carried over to here.
So far out of the box, you guys knocked off 2 of the teams that were expected to contend for the championship, trying to protect the home floor. Looking around at the league, do you all feel it is as wide open as it's played, at least through the first 4 games around the league?
I'd say in my time here, the conference we're playing in right now is the most level it's ever been. Last year and the year before we had the powerhouse Bucknell. They're still a powerhouse, but I'd say now, even though we're a young team and everything, I'd say each team is a lot more even than it's usually been.
Happy to see Nana Fallon finally going from Bucknell.
No, I love playing against Nana. Yeah.
Great players.
I like challenges.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And they've got one now with Nate Sestino, who had a big game on Monday night. Big week for you all. Obviously starts Wednesday with Lafayette. Again, a team that plays kind of a backwards type system. The big wants to pull you away from the basket, maybe face up and do a lot of things. What kind of challenge is that defensively for you in a game like that?
Defensively, they spread it out. They're a good offensive team, not great on defense, but they want to spread out, shoot threes, which makes me have to move a lot more. I have to run. I have to make switches. I have to rotate. Doing that just takes a lot more energy, so we're going to have to use our bench a lot more this game.
Does it also give you a little more confidence, hey, if I can do what I'm supposed to do at the defensive end, might be able to get some more opportunities at the offensive end in a game like this?
Yes. So for me personally, and other people are probably like this too, I feed off my defense. And if I can play solid defense time in, time out each possession, then it just carries over for the offense for me.
Is it hard to block out what's happening at the end of the week?
Not really. I'd say not for me, because I like to focus on one game at a time. I don't know if I'm smart enough to focus on another game at the same time. But especially for our freshmen, they need to know that you got to go 1-0 each game, and that's all we got to focus on. You know, it'll be the first time they've ever played Army on a big stage like that, not counting Maryland. But the atmosphere in that game definitely in years past is set in the back of my head. But I'd say for right now that I'm just focused on one game at a time.
And no doubt about that. But the role of guys like Hassan, George, Ryan, Dom, yourself, you know, guys that have been through a couple of these things, is this one of those weeks where you got to keep everybody grounded and focused on the task at hand, because Saturday doesn't mean as much if you don't take care of your business on Wednesday, which is another road game?
True. It's another conference game, but, you know, thinking about it right now, being in the locker room, I don't think I've heard the name Army once.
Is that a good sign?
That's a good sign. Yeah. So no freshman has mentioned it. They haven't asked me or the seniors any questions about like how it is and like what's going on, like how fun it is to play in that game. They haven't said a word. So I don't think anybody is really looking at it like I did when I was a freshman.
You mentioned the youth of this basketball team. Thoughts on what you've seen from some of those youngsters who found their way into the lineup early, at least playing some significant minutes for you guys?
Yes, so definitely some of the bench players and definitely a lot of the freshmen. Normally we don't have a lot of freshmen playing, but we definitely, like Greg Summers, John obviously, Rich even, they definitely had a big step up. And, you know, we lost those 4 amazing seniors last year, and we needed some more players to step in. And the freshmen have done a nice job. You know, Danny, Isaiah, especially Isaiah on defense, him and his long arms, I really love the way he plays. Cam Davis obviously played last year. All those guys have stepped up and accepted their role even more. So that just helped us in the end.
I was going to say, too, for a guy like Josiah, a guy that can play probably one and the two.
Also Josiah, because
Yeah.
that, you know, Haas without Josiah, there's literally Cam who starts at the 2 for us, you know, so we have to have another point guard.
I was going to say, I mean, he's a guy that can play probably the 1 and the 2 during his time here. But as a freshman, for the most part, he has seemed fairly comfortable in
Yes.
that role here from the get-go.
At the beginning of the season, he seemed a little bit nervous. You know how a freshman is. That's how I was as well. But in practice, he is probably one of our more confident guys shooting the ball. You know, coach has to tone him down and say, take good, better shots and stuff. But that confidence is key to his success.
I was going to say, confidence is hard to teach. You know, some guys have it. Some guys have false confidence, and then some guys have no confidence. You'd much rather have a guy with it than without it. Good luck on Wednesday night. We'll see you in Easton, Pennsylvania.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
All right, Evan Wieck joining us here. Wednesday night will be in the home of the former heavyweight champion, Larry Holmes, as the Mids take on Lafayette. Airtime 6:45 on the Navy Radio Network.